Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Psalms. He's first in the chat. She's saying good morning to everybody. Good morning, Jason, and probably Shanna, and anybody else running through right now. I'll give a few seconds for the algorithm to tell people. But I mentioned it that I will be going live, so hopefully people are checking in because I got to get right back entered into the algorithm. But how's everybody doing this morning? It's a nice sunny day. It's cool. It's chilly. Wearing my flannel shirt. Got to do a few more things for winter prep, which I should have done already in my zone. And the water should have been turned off outside, but I'm going to turn it off now. Try to drain the hose the best as I can. Anyways, I'm putting it in the garage, so it shouldn't matter. It won't freeze in there, but I like to drain it out so that it doesn't crack. That's exactly why you have to buy things every year, because you don't take care of them properly for the pre-winter prep. So how's everyone doing this lovely morning? It's pretty mild for November. We're just going to talk about, I was thinking of a title for the live, and the last second I'm like, yeah, thinking of a master plan. That song came into my mind, which is perfect. We do put plastic on the windows here, yes. Um, some windows more than others, because once you put the plastic on, you can't open the window, right? So it has to be something that is very drafty, but you don't need to open. Um, Good morning, Renaissance Grandma. But I have to put some weather stripping on my front door. Definitely, they say, I was watching this guy, and it's true. Look at your door. Do you see any gaps, any light coming through where there shouldn't be light coming through? And my answer is yes. So I'm going to put some more weather stripping. That's exactly why bugs get into the house too. Those red and black beetle looking things over here. Morning, Jova. So I'm gonna make sure I put that in, keep the draft out. Um, I should have sealed the windows. I may still have time, but we'll figure. I don't like doing these kind of tasks. Let me just tell the truth. I don't like doing this stuff, but there's no one to do it for me. So I have no choice but to figure it out. Go to, the orange store and the blue store to figure the stuff out, buying the right stuff, and then, applying them. We my dad put something on the garage to kind of stop the water from running through and to seal it a bit, but that actually was so sticky that it kept the garage door shut. So I peeled off the excess, so it's okay now, but to keep the excess water from going in, it's not going to stop a significant flow of water, but it'll give some time. Plus, everything in the garage is it's gotten worse again before it got better, because I bought some shelves from Costco, those shelves for your totes that you can just slide them onto the rack. You don't have to like pile them on each other. So because of that, um, the shelf is assembled. I got to get it installed and mounted to the wall. That's why it hasn't been finished, because I don't have a concrete drill to drill into the concrete blocks to stabilize it. Put the totes on there. I have two of them, so that will hold 10 totes. My garage is not tall enough to put something on the top, so I'll put just like small stuff on there. And then everything is going to be on skids. Most things are on skids, but there's a few more things going further back. I'm going to get some nice skids from the animal feed store. They say you can buy them there for $2 or for free. So I'm going to pick up some when I go to get some food. I should have actually got some food today. Maybe I have to go tomorrow. I'm just thinking out loud, because I have to be shopping for Jamaica and all kind of stuff. So this is what we're talking about today. And I'm going to drop the link. Because of what's happening there, we have to prep to send stuff over there. And I know I was on Gina's live last night, and same thing, we're talking about prepping, because we gotta, you gotta keep revisiting this topic, because it just gets reminded of how bad it is in some areas. They had no water, they had no food, and when people are saying forget the food, give us the water, it's bad. Clean water to hygiene to bathe. I've been seeing some videos. A lot of my news is coming from social media. The news itself um, doesn't give you the nitty gritty. And there's some new springs and rivers that have just popped up. I guess they were old streams, and maybe because of the hurricane and the shifting, it's reemerged, and they're waiting for things to see if they're gonna recede or not. But they're bathing in the rivers, they're collecting water from springs, and some people are finding natural ways of doing laundry there. And you know, it's not what they're used to, but at least they have access to clean water, which is great. Um, So we got some lists and requests from our family. I did get in touch with the family. Um, the third party, here, who was talking to a third party there to get in touch with my aunt. Good morning, Cheryl. She, I basically said, like, maybe she copied and pasted my comments because I just don't even care anymore. I'm the We Do Not Care Club, the perimenopausal club. We don't care. If you get the joke, you get the joke on Instagram. You know what I'm talking about. But like, we need her to contact the family directly. We need some things confirmed and verified for a funeral that's supposed to be happening, and people are not picking up the travel to go internationally into where we don't know we're going. So we got a hold of her. We had a conversation. Oh, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Morning by you. Never. It's not fine. The house, our family house, has no power. Who's going over there? No power, no lights. That means the cameras aren't going to be on. Why are we going out? We going over there? So now that I see what's really happening, I'm like, I'm not going to the funeral. We're going to send 2 people from here to go to the funeral. And I said, get in and get out. 5 days tops. Stay at a hotel. It doesn't make any sense that you're going to the house and you don't have any light, you may have water, but it gets dark over there at like 5 p.m. So from 5 p.m., you're going to go to bed and do what? You need to charge your phone, your laptop. Like, it doesn't make sense. Now they're talking about generators, which again now gave me now more anxiety, because like, these are the kind of purchases, maybe for me, I like to put some thought and some research into it and base it on actual needs and how it's going to be used and if it's going to be beneficial. Like, we don't want to be spending money and it's not in the right way or the right department. I got some information from there, and they're saying the best generator, in terms of if it's not solar, it would be diesel. Gasoline is not wouldn't be beneficial there because gas is expensive and it's in low supply from what I've seen on social media. So that was an accurate observation that he made. So a diesel generator, those are not cheap, and they're pretty heavy, as they should be, and they're expecting us to carry it with us when we're traveling for the funeral, um, which is not feasible. Those things need to be crated up and shipped. So I don't think they're even really clear, which is they're not clear on what needs to be done and what order it needs to be done in. So I made a decision that we're not getting a generator because they're getting it. They want to get it for us so that when we're down there at the house, we can use it at the house. But I'm not going to. I said, no, we're not going there. It doesn't make no sense. We need to be comfortable while we handle certain businesses and issues that need to be dealt with. And some things are better to buy in Jamaica. It may be more expensive, but at least you have the warranty and the service plan to repair any damages. Going across international lines, what's that going to do? I'm going to bring it back over here to get it fixed. It doesn't make sense. So anyways, generators. But I'm sitting down from even when the storm happened. I'm like, let me just hang back and see what's going on, because everybody's in an uproar. Everybody's uneasy. They're looking for their family. They're trying to hear from their family. People are missing. People are deceased, and everyone's just like almost survivor's guilt in a way. So people who are not in Jamaica, I definitely think it's survivor's guilt, and they're trying to like send stuff down and get stuff, but it's not getting to the right people. And we already talked about this last week, but we know this from past natural disasters in various parts, that it always seems to get locked away somewhere. So I'm watching to wait and see where is the best place to put resources. And people are sending stuff and bringing it down, but they're not understanding that this is not a short game. This is a long game. Good morning, Shauna. This is a long game. This is not going to be resolved anytime soon. I can tell you that right now. The damage is extensive. The houses are no good. They have to start from zero, rebuild the house, and furniture is garbage because the mud is like mixed with mud and sewage. So that's all, that stuff is garbage. Clothes is garbage. Anything that they had, garbage. Now for my family home, I'm a bit disappointed because I called my dad and somebody else and said, who's going to be boarding up the windows? No real answer. So the people who are staying there, because the family member passed away, so they're just there until the house is sold, and then that someone's in the house, because if it's not occupied, it could attract squatters and thieves and that kind of thing. But they don't have the skills, because I'm thinking the amount of water that came into the house. Yes, it's not surprising. They cleaned it up, yes, but nothing was boarded up, nothing was arranged and planned. My aunt, I thought, would make sure that was taken care of, and it's like we're working backwards. So we got to have a plan. There needs to be a plan of hurricane preparedness. And I know my uncle has passed away, but still, who's down there supposed to take care of that stuff? We got to figure that out, because this is not working. The amount of water damage could have been. Then what also was upsetting, my uncle had a very heavy duty cast iron barbecue. I would have rolled it into the house, or rolled it into a place, into the storage garage, whatever was easier, to make sure that it's inside the house. That wasn't done, and it's blown away. Who knows where it is now? And those things aren't cheap. Cast iron things are, they're good quality, they're heavy, and it's gone. And then the expectation is, oh, call overseas, ring, 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 ba-da-ding. Yeah, we need X, Y, and Z. Like, yeah, we need it. As if money grows on trees. So this is a very volatile time for everybody, myself included, because it's like, anyways. So I got a list from the family, and there's 5 things going on at the same time, because I saw a video on social media and of a Jamaican lady talking about, don't send X, Y, and Z, because they don't eat that kind of stuff. And then some people are like, well, if you don't have, you shouldn't be so picky. You should be taking what you get and be thankful that you can have something to eat, period. So now there's an argument on social media about that. And this is the problem. This is the problem when you're over here. You don't even want to do anything, because it's like you don't want to hear the ungratefulness and the complaining. Like, oh, we want X, we want Y. If you can't get X and Y over here, I can't send it. Then if you send the money down there, the money runs out because they don't use it properly. They want what they want, and they're not thinking of things that can stretch and things that can, suffice until now. So there's some truth where they don't eat certain things, they don't know those things, they're not familiar with those things. But come on, like, really? So a lot of people are put off and turned off. But that's what's going to happen. You're going to send stuff down there. You're going to send good morning bud files, send your hard-earned money to things down there, and it's not going to be used. They're not going to want it. So just keep it to the basics: water, food, basic food, canned tin goods, and leave it there. I'm seeing a lot of lists of things that don't make sense to me from people who were not heavily hit. That's what I'm referring to. Those who are heavily hit have absolutely nothing. So they need everything from 0 to 100. Those who were not heavily hit, I'm seeing, not from me directly, but through other people telling me, showing me the requests that they're getting. It doesn't make any sense. Paper towels, let's say. Why would you spend your money from overseas to send paper towels? That's not a good use of the shipping costs and the, customs clearance, because I know in Jamaica now they've waived duties and taxes. But I don't think that affects us over here who are paying for shipping and handling. The cost for us, I don't think is much different. And the clearance cost, I don't think is much different either. So yeah, they're not paying over there, but it's not really helping us who are shipping things. And they're not thinking like clearly. Like, we have to ship things that are going to be, the most needed items, the most important items, things that are going to last and also be worth the hassle of the shipping and receiving, because those make the items 3 times the cost. And figuring out what the best option is. If you're able to get things down there, then maybe sending the money. And I know right now that some money transfer places were closed, so you were waiting for them to reopen. I think some of them are reopened now. There are new ways to send money, but maybe that person down there doesn't have that app on their phone. So there's a bit of gap in communication to get the money down there, because for us to ship stuff, it doesn't make sense. And that's where it's like you explain this to them for the last 15, 20 years, and It's like they forget, like, it doesn't make sense for us to send certain things down there. It's not worth the bottom line. And it's not being cold, oh, you're not helping them. Yeah, we're helping them, but the help has to make sense. You have to have a plan. It has to be strategic. It has to make sense. Shipping certain things does not make sense. If you're giving it to a company or a charity that has the resources to have aircraft so they can fill up and ship it down, and they're getting humanitarian exemptions and humanitarian help to ship these stuff to Jamaica, that makes sense. But regular schmegular people packing a barrel, we don't get as many of those benefits on a smaller scale. We don't. So it has to make sense. And then we're talking on Gina's live last night about certain preparations. Water, water, and more water. I think I'm a bit confused with those of my family and friends and extended family that didn't really get hit that hard. And some of the things that they're asking for, like cooking oil. Yeah, where's the cooking oil and the dishwashing liquid and the laundry soap? Like, those are things that you should have had. I don't think that should have ran out by now. I don't think those are things that you should have not already had. So I'm not sure if they're just requesting things that, like, to pack a barrel, or these are things that are actually needed. That's where I'm a bit lost. So in preparedness, I have to now balance, should I go for the funeral? The probability is going to be a no, because now the expenses are going through the roof to get resources down to the people. And it's unfortunate that some people just did not, over the years, I'm talking about not recently, over the years, 10, 20 years, they did not really take this kind of things seriously. Because I was talking to the family there about investing in solar panels, solar generators, and newer technology that would help them keep the power up. And it was very expensive at the time. It still kind of is, but if the family over here all put together, we could make it happen. But they just didn't take it seriously. And now when these hurricanes are getting more severe each year, they're scrambling, and they're seeing other people who are prepared, because I've been hearing comments, oh, well, they're running their whole house with their generator. I don't think they're running their whole house, but they're running the essentials. Yeah. They're not going to run their whole house. That wouldn't make sense. And now they're seeing the importance of these kind of investments. But the other problem is, you send stuff down there and they don't take care of it, and then it gets damaged, and they think they can just call again and, oh, I need a new one. No, it doesn't work like that. So, cultural differences, expectations are not realistic, and so on and so forth. But that's the update. Everyone's kind of scrambling to figure out what to do where. I am already seeing this week, since I talked to you guys last Saturday, I'm seeing political issues. So the Jamaican government that's currently in power is the JLP, Jamaican Labor Party. There's only two parties in Jamaica. The other party is the PNP, People's National Party. So what I'm hearing in the streets from people on social media is that if your community is a PNP area, then they're not getting aid. They're focusing on the JLP areas first, and then going to the PNP area, which is totally unacceptable and just absolutely despicable. Everything should be planned out, again, master plan, on what areas can be reached, and mapping out the best order to drop off whether airdrops, trucking drops with the military or the Navy, and things of that like, and working in tandem with the other groups. What I see in Jamaica right now, the aircraft response, the people from Spain. There's a whole group of people from El Salvador, I believe it was. There's people from America, there's people from Canada. There's teams from, first aid teams, first responders, fire brigade, all these specialties. They're going into the different areas, helping even to set up tarpaulins for shade, medical support for people who need a lot of people need medical support, and getting them medications. They're not working together, and they're working together, but there's not a master plan and focusing on which areas that they can reach and access. I know the company that I'm following on Instagram, which is aero recovery. If you're on Instagram, you see me kind of sharing their reels. I'm sharing their reels. I'm sharing on my stories and my stuff. You'll see them there. They are using their like drones and other equipment to map out and plan out the next locations to do drops. They're checking what areas have not been reached, and it's more strategic, it's more organized, and then they're mapping out, okay, drop here, drop here, drop here. They're working closely with a group from Miami, GEM, something, can't remember what it stands for, but some group, and they have been doing care packages, boxes, supplies, and they have a warehouse, I think now in Jamaica, and they're have staffing around the clock. So it's a 24-hour operation. So requests are coming in, the next shift can fulfill them and get the stuff out. Helicopters can do an airdrop. Sometimes they land depending on the area if it's already been pre-screened for safety, and that's what they're doing. But we have to have a master plan, and when you're in it, you kind of see the confusion of everyone has their own opinion, but somebody has to kind of take all those opinions and make it make sense and do what works. But people are getting desperate, they're getting violent. There's a couple of things I'm hearing about, some more recent robberies and just taking supplies, jumping on vehicles while they're driving to get in and take stuff and jump out, which is very dangerous. But that's how desperate they are. They need the basic supplies. And this just goes to show you, me, all of us, we need to have things in our home that are ready to go for shelter in place. Yes, I know things were damaged, things were ruined, but you need to have certain things that are you know drums that can hold some water, that just in case something happens, you have something in your house. Important documents and stuff in Ziploc bags, not just left out. Power bank, a mini solar power bank to charge his phones and stuff like that. To keep your phone and your tablets or whatever charged in case you can get communication through or hear what's happening in the news. A lot of things is happening because nobody can get access to the news. I don't think anybody owns a radio anymore, to be honest, over there. It'll be very strange. I know we have one at the house, an old CD player kind of radio, but I don't think many people have radios anymore. So they're heavily relying on the internet to get information of what's happening and what to expect and where to go to get aid. Um, some people are not they live in remote areas, but they're very modern, but they're just so remote it's not as easy to get there, and there's not really roads. So a lot of the aid has to come in on foot and also airdrops because there's no way to get a vehicle into any of these areas. It's impossible. I don't even know how they built houses there because I guess everything was brought up manually on foot. So that's kind of what's going on. But what are you guys doing to plan for your master plan of preparedness as you see what's happening again, another natural disaster? What are you doing to tighten up what you have going on and make it make sense? What are your focuses as of right now, November 2025? For me, it's water. I had to go and stock up on water, and I had to go get some more water just in case. The Maroons, I'm watching them on Instagram. They look to be doing well. The the team that went there, the aero recovery team that went there about 5 days ago now, they were going in there expecting that the roads were blocked because that's what they had heard. But it was true. The roads were blocked. But while the roads were blocked, the Maroons kept at it and they got the roads cleared. And when they got up there, they were able to help with other things because that was already cleared. Their water, they have a water machine from the Moses Foundation, atmospheric water generator, I think it's called. But if you know the Moses Foundation, you know exactly what it is. He's been doing this even in Hawaii and all over the world, helping people get water in very remote areas. The machine was tipped over. The two large trailers, huge heavy trailers, were tipped over. Good morning, Black Guns. And they We're waiting for the foundation to come and get them up, but they got them up themselves. They used I would call it a forklift, but it wasn't a forklift. Somehow they got a hold of some heavy material, heavy machinery, and they were able to tilt it back over right side up and shimmy it to where it's supposed to be on the concrete pad. They took out the equipment, they reset it back up. It seems to be working fine. That machine has been made to handle a category 4 or 5, but this hurricane really was not a 5. It was really, from what I heard, a 7, but there's no other grade but a 5. So it was probably more than a 5, but the machine is good. Um, and they are strategically working to get to those remote areas, and they're asking for equipment and machinery, and they do have a GoFundMe page to help with those equipment, but they're doing the work. Like, they're out there working. The thing about the Maroon people that's different from the Jamaican government is that the government of the Maroons, the chief and the leadership team, are out doing the work. They're not just leading the people with, you know, laws and bylaws and theory. They're actually physically doing the work. It's almost like maybe it's not the right term, but like a guerrilla camp. But I wouldn't say that's the right term. But like just a camp. It's almost like Burkina Faso. I'll use him as example. Traore, Ibrahim Traore. It's like they're military leaders in and of themselves, but they're also leaders of the country. It's a different type of leadership than the westernized style where you're a leader, you wear suits, but you may have never served your country in battle. You may have never served your country in any form besides, in a courtroom or in a legal setting. So it's a very different type of leadership that they're getting, which is kind of why they're clearing the road so quickly. Like, they're working around the clock. They have shifts, but they're doing well from what I'm seeing. They're getting, but the buildings are destroyed. They need to get their buildings rebuilt and fixed, and the roofing done. Renaissance is saying, we've been talking about this for so long that no one on here shouldn't be prepared to buckle. Yep, you got that right. But there's always going to be somebody who's not prepared. So take this seriously. I know sometimes it doesn't have to be a natural disaster. Like, if y'all remember, I think it was last year, maybe it was last year. I think it was Texas. Correct me if I'm wrong. There was some kind of problem with the water. They had to like shut down the water. You couldn't use any water for a couple of days, and people were scrambling. They had to close schools and businesses because there's no water to flush toilets, wash hands, to do anything. And then they had to clean something in the system. And then they opened the pipe, said, okay, go ahead, but let it run for how many hours, or, don't drink it yet. It could be anything that could happen. It doesn't have to be a hurricane. And all of a sudden you have no water. Good morning, the Adelaide Gardner. And did I miss anybody? We're just a little too comfortable and complacent. So you need to have what you need. I did invest this year in a solar power bank or generator. I got it. I was in contact with Vision Preparedness just to confirm, what it said that it had the specs, and if it was good. He's like, yeah, that's a good to go. So I got the Delta. I think it's a Delta 2, or probably the Delta 2. It was at Costco. They're having it. They had a whole bunch of them. I don't know, during this maybe August-ish, and there's a lot of them on sale. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to bite the bullet, and I got it. I'm going to be now buying the solar panels to go with it and figuring out, how to use it. Because what my plan is to, and good morning, Happy Mac. What my plan is to do is to use the solar generator and the solar panels and run my hydroponics off of that to see, like, to actively use it. I'm not waiting for an emergency to use it or waiting for a natural disaster. I'm going to be using it now, and to see how much power can run, how quickly it recharges, and testing it out with my hydroponics. That's my plan to do it. And then the next step would be to get something smaller that can be used to run the heated waterer for the chickens, and run lighting for the chickens. So during the day when it's overcast, I want to have some lighting in there, because It kind of helps with their mood and helps with laying, and see how that works. Because if that can be run off of the heated water, lighting, and whatever else can be run off of a solar, then it would be easier. And I would be learning how to use the equipment and how to pivot when I have to, change the setup or whatever. I'm not going to just have it there, because that's what happens. You have it there, you sit there, okay, it's charged, and then it sits there. So when I bought it, power went out in my neighborhood at my friend's house, and we were going to figure out how to plug in the freezer to it, but we didn't have to. After all, the power came back after a few hours, and a freezer can last for several hours being sealed shut. Don't open it, it's fine. Even that, even being aware of, good morning, G Mama, being aware of how long can your freezer be kept cold without power. And from what I looked up, I think it's about 10 hours. And your fridge, same thing, you keep it sealed shut. If your fridge and your freezer are full, it will stay colder longer. If it's not full, then it's obviously shorter. But people don't know that. So you don't have to run, oh my God, I need, just hang in there. If there's no power on by a certain time, then you can, use your power banks and so forth. But even that, I have 2 power banks for my cell phone. Those mini, it's like the size of a cell phone, those, it's like this size, but it's not. A bit smaller. I always have that. And people are like, oh, why do you carry that around? I have that in my purse, and it has 2 charges. I can charge my phone twice. And I have one in my house. I keep it charged. Sometimes I use it to just use it and then recharge it, so that I know that it's the bank itself is holding a charge. Don't just leave it sitting there until you need it. You have to be actively using it. You have to be actively using it. So these are the, oh, good morning, David Corey. I didn't even see you pop in there. That too. So this is, we have to be ready. And it's hard to ask other people to be ready, like family in Jamaica, when you yourself aren't ready. And it's it becomes very expensive the longer you leave your preparedness for later. It becomes more expensive. Hold on, someone's texting me. Make sure it's not important. One second. Okay, cool. You open the stuff, test it out, use it. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. If I can use this for my hydroponic, then literally I'm not paying any money for the hydroponics. It's running itself. Well, I pay for the equipment, but it's running itself. And then I can see how long it goes. Do I need more equipment? Do I need more solar panels? And so on. It's not something that I know a lot about. I watch people's videos, but again, these are not things that I really want to be doing, but I have to do them. I'm not interested in knowing wattage and amps and whatever the connecting and parallel. I don't care about any of that stuff, to be perfectly honest. I have no interest, but I have to, because there's nobody else to do it. So if I don't do it, what am I going to do? Be in the dark? Doesn't make any sense. So I have to learn enough to survive. So water for me is again important. I'm looking forward to solar. Yeah, I'm gonna try to record, but that's not, I'm the worst at uploading. I'm still working on it, guys. I need to get a new computer. But these are things that we have to do. Oh, thanks, G Mama. Okay, so maybe you know what to do. And a lot of it, I can relate to people. It's just fear, or just you're unsure, you don't know where to start. So you don't want to start at all. You just kind of don't want to do anything at all, because you don't know what to do, and you don't want to make a mistake. You want to spend the wrong money in the wrong spot, and you're just like, a lot's going on. But get your water up, water filtration up, even in North America, even in a modern country, because anything could happen. And as we know here, there was E. coli scare, there was a this scare, a listeria, all kind of problems with the water, and they don't always tell you. So you should be practicing those things anyways, boiling your water, filtering your tap water anyways. I don't trust anything out the tap. I have a filter to run it through, and then I even use that to start my sprouts, because I've been sprouting for the last, I would say, year for the chickens, but I'm now sprouting for myself. Mung bean sprouts, they grow pretty quickly. They're excellent on a salad. Alfalfa, broccoli sprouts, radish sprouts, and some other bean that I put in there. very tasty on a side salad, very, very nutritious, very nutrient dense. And that will give you some of the minerals and stuff that you need, especially when you're in an area that you can't really actively grow for whatever reason. A little bit of sprouting some seeds and rinsing them off every day will do a lot of good for your dietary needs. So that's another thing I think we should start to look into is sprouts. And you'll be surprised, I had like, fried egg, some sprouts, some toast, and you have enough to feel satiated for several hours. You don't need to be eating a lot of food. You need to be eating the right foods at the right time. Um, I didn't think I needed to know watts or measurements, but it surely helps to know the basics. Yeah. It's and then to just to know basic stuff. Um, so I do want to run my hydroponics off of that because I need to expand to more gardening talk. What I realized for myself is I was always fighting with leggy seedlings. And I was saying that, and oh, your lights are too far away. I put the lights right against the soil, like right against, like touching, and you go up, up, up. You're still getting leggy seedlings. Nobody ever mentioned the connection. So I'm telling you right now, the connection between a fan and preventing leggy seedlings. That is the secret. The fan is not just for ventilation. Yeah, you want to. The fan prevents leggy seedlings, and nobody mentioned that. They kept mentioning the light, the light, the light, and it could have been the light, but it probably wasn't because the light was right against the soil. I'm having on the highest setting, and it just didn't make sense to me because they're like, well, how come when it's in the sun it doesn't do that, and the sun is like farther away, and I have the light right against the soil? Oh, it's the fan. The fan helps the plant to shoot roots down and to become more sturdy because it has to have that resistance. And then all of a sudden, those seedlings are not going to be leggy. So if you're doing your seedlings indoors, I think I went from hydroponics to indoor, but seed starting indoors, whatever it is, the fan, you need circulation and a fan. And that's going to have to be running on a schedule or around the clock. That's going to also take some power. Let me just make sure. Hold on. I'm seeing some messages. Okay. They're trying to research Starlink for Jamaica, so that's distracting me. But that's the secret. There's no We have to mimic and recreate exactly everything that's happening in nature. So yes, you're watering. Yes, you have the light. That's the sun. You need to also mimic the airflow. If you're not doing that in your indoor seedlings, you're going to get a lot of legginess. And sometimes you can recover from it by when you up pot your seedlings, putting them deeper. Yeah. We know all that stuff, but you want to minimize all that stuff as much as possible and have stronger seedlings. And since I had one fan, so I had to move it from shelf 1 to shelf 2 to shelf 3, and every day I'm having to move the fan up and down, up and down. But the fan, you need a fan. If you are not getting a fan and think that you can skip the fan in the indoor seedling, let me tell you right now, that's why you have leggy seedlings. And now it makes sense. But nobody ever said it was the fan. Let me see what Tag is saying. My daughter's friend introduced her to the dense bean salad, and she's been making it. It's raw and absolutely delicious and filling. It's now in my Yep, sprouts. That is, I don't know if the Jamaicans are going to like that very much, but I'm going to try to implement it there. But these are ways that you can get your own food. Now, we're tying it back into Jamaica, but also the gardening. So St. Elizabeth is the breadbasket of Jamaica. That's where most of the crops are grown, even though food is grown around the island. That's the main place. It has been decimated. Crops that would have been ready in a few weeks, everything is gone. The surrounding hillsides and nature is looking like it's burned. I don't know why it looks burned, but to me, it's probably wind burn. I'm just going by what I would think makes sense because there was not a fire, but everything looks burnt and like just dead and gray. It's probably the wind burn and maybe the water, hitting it. Because if you got hit by water, you know that it hurts like a. So maybe that too. And it's like so brown and yuck. Like trees that were all lush yesterday are now all gone. the banana plants, pepper plants, green, like all the stuff is pretty much gone. I don't know how many people, I know a couple of farmers did some things and their plants are okay because they took it seriously. So, you know what? I don't want to lose all my crops, but the livestock is gone. There's no food. So everyone's starting from ground zero. So people who had chickens, most of them are dead. How do you restart? Even if you're going to get a hatchery to hatch out chicks for you on the other side of the island, it takes time for those chickens. If they're meat birds, you got quick, like 6 weeks. If they're egg layers, that takes a lot longer. So I believe there's a country that said they're going to send hens or send, I don't know if it was eggs that are fertilized to hatch or chicks, but they're sending these things over because they have nothing. So you have to remember, if we're in a disaster and you have to start from zero, what can you grow quickly as a farmer, homesteader, gardener that will give you food in the fastest turnaround? And the fastest turnaround is sprouts. But sprouts require seeds. You can't just go and so you have to have both plans prepared in your mind simultaneously. If you don't have a lot of seeds, then your best bet is to plant them and grow them to a mature plant and harvest more seeds. If you already have sprouting seeds, in your emergency kit, in your Ziploc bag, it's good to go. You can put a few of them. You can put like a quarter of a cup in a jar, mason jar, and that will give you a whole jar in a couple of days, and then keep cycling through. That needs to be part of your prepping, not just seeds for planting and growing, seeds for sprouting, because you will get enough nutrients with just the sprouts. You won't be full to the brim like a steak and eggs, but at least you'll have some nutrients. And those sprouts will give you some water as well because there's water in those sprouts. Yes, you have to have clean water, but the amount of water that you need to do sprouts is very minimal. You soak them for a couple of hours if you need to, and then you rinse them once a day. And you can be very frugal with the amount of water that you use to rinse them with. You don't have to use a whole bunch. And then you take the water that you pour off, and that water could be used for something else if you're really in a desperate time. But you need to incorporate sprouts into your prepping. I've been doing that lately and just eating sprouts and just, adding it to my meals. And it does make a bigger difference. They're more nutrient dense than the full grown greens that we're eating. And the anti-cancer properties and the other benefits outweigh sometimes growing something to maturity. That's how powerful the sprouts are. So I've been doing that, cycling that. That gives me feed for my animals, fresh greens without having to go and buy things in the store because my garden is pretty much finished for the season. It's winter's coming, going to be snow. I can still feed my animals fresh greens. And a bag of mung bean seeds has lasted me for over a year. One little $4, like the smaller bags. If I got the big bulk bag, which I'm going to get that now from the wholesaler, that's going to last you for a long time. Just make sure that you, now in the prepping mindset, you have a 5-gallon bucket with a lid, and they're kept, maybe in a Ziploc bag in the bucket so that in case, it breaches, you have a double layer of protection. But that's what we need to be doing. I guarantee you that can be a side. If you have chickens that laying eggs, a fried egg and some greens, and if you have a way to make some bread or something or flatbread, you're living good. Um, yeah, I think it's windburn. I definitely think it's windburn. Um, that has damaged. So they're starting from scratch. The best way also to expand the growing let's say Jamaica we're talking about, basil too. I'd grow out the plant a little bit, take cuttings. Yes, you read my mind with the propagation Psalm. Propagating. If you know how to propagate and you have a couple of plants that didn't get damaged, you just start propagating and getting your plants replenished faster instead of going to seed. Relying on seeds, I mean. So that's an excellent point. Propagation. You can graft trees, you can whatever, all the different options. That's what's going to make and break, I think, the farming in Jamaica right now. People who know how to graft, air layer, propagate. There's a couple of people I see that are doing that anyways. That's their business, and they have pledged to do as much trees as they can and give them out for free so that people can replant their properties. That's what needs to be. If there's a storm coming and you know a storm's coming, you don't know how rough it's going to be. I think part of your hurricane preparedness prepping should be getting some cuttings off of those trees and bringing them into inside the house or somewhere semi safe, because you don't know if the roof's going to go off or not, and try to propagate them and have them in there so that you have a backup, or just always be propagating all the time, having some plants. Okay, do I need them? Yes. No, don't need them. Give them away, sell them, whatever you want to do, but always be propagating, because if you're relying on these trees all the time, a disease could take the tree, um, damage from a hurricane, fire, anything could happen to that tree, and all of a sudden that tree is no more. We have to all be. I had to propagate a tree just to practice, and then the main one died. My Chicago hardy fig died. I don't have a problem with Chicago hardies because I propagated about 4 of them, and they're all doing well. They're all going to go in the garage today, and that's what I'm doing. You need to be propagating so that you have multiples of your trees, and then you have a backup plan. You got to back up your backup. And if that doesn't work out, there's nothing more you can do. You've tried your best. You've done the proactive thing. You've had a master plan put in place to make sure. But sprouting seeds need to be in your preparedness kit. I have some, but I'm going to definitely stock up. And sprouting seeds does not mean you have to buy them from a sprouting company or sprouting brand. You can go to your regular grocery store and buy a big bag of mung beans. If you want to guarantee that they're organic, that's between you and your family, your household. If you don't mind that it's just regular schmegular beans, then take those beans and sprout them. You don't have to. I'm not going to worry about, all the other stuff. You need food to eat. They're affordable. Bag them up and buy a big bag, put them in Ziploc bags in your 5-gallon bucket. There you go. You have mung bean sprouts. Those can be used as full-grown bean sprouts and saute them with your cabbage, and you can make a stir fry. There's many options that you can use. It can be used for animal feed, as I said, bird feed, goat feed, horse, any kind of animal would be eating off those sprouts. Broccoli sprouts, all those other things, buy them in bulk at a cheap place and put them in your buckets. Do not keep anything just in the bag that it's in. You need to make sure that it's safe from any exposure to sewage, um, mice, rats chewing through stuff, all this kind of stuff. Make sure that you have them put away properly and that you check on them periodically. Weebles and so forth. You can put bay leaves. You can put your diatomaceous earth in there. And then when you get a sprout, you just rinse them off. I don't know if that's going to damage the beans. I don't think so, but just test it out now. Don't wait until it's a problem. But I'm gonna propagate some figs right now, like over the weekend. I find in the week it's just it goes so fast, and then it gets dark here at 5:30 now. So really, you got to do that stuff in the daytime. But I'm gonna be propagating more figs and getting more of those so that the people in my circle of gardeners can get those fig trees. They've never had a fig. My dad came over and he's like, I go, it's not fully ripe, but let's eat it now because the squirrels be taking my food. And they're like, oh my goodness, this is they could taste like it tasted like jam in a fruit container. And they couldn't believe. I'm like, this is what a fig tastes like. We don't know because we just be buying stuff from the store and getting them. But they definitely want a fig tree. And they're not that hard to maintain. Don't try to reinvent the wheel and buy all these elaborate stuff. Just stick to the fundamentals. Because when it comes down to it, you're not going to be caring about your exotic. Well, you may care. You want just food to eat for your family. And fruit trees. Fruit trees, we need to remind all of us, invest in fruit trees. Invest in berry bushes. Those are easy ways to have food. And most times they survive storms and survive stuff. So, it's easier to have those kind of things than just start from growing from seed. But have those things. Get your group, your circle, your family more prepared. As Renaissance said, they should be prepared by now. They should be, but some people not taking this seriously because they think, oh, I'm going to go to your house. I'm going to go to you. We don't got time for that. We have to have everybody pulling their weight so that they can help when something goes all the way left. And we need to prepare and have things like in Jamaica now. I'm going to make sure that they have buckets and things have to be in the bucket, because when the water came in, you don't have time to be moving this, moving that, worrying about, like, there's too many moving parts to worry about. If you know your food is in a bucket and it's safe, that's better in the long runs. It frees their mind to worry about other things. Your cornmeal, your oatmeal, if those things were in Ziploc bags and in a bucket, I don't think we would be getting the requests that we're getting now. Now, what was supposed to happen this year is usually we bring up our family members from Jamaica, and then while she's here, we pack barrels, we get things set up, and then she goes back with barrels. But because of the other family member being ill, there was just too many things, and it's like, nah, don't come, not yet. Then the hurricane, and then they're starting to realize the importance of being prepared. Like on their end, they need to make sure they have certain things always in stock. And if they're running low, it's better to deal with that up front than to wait until these kind of times where now everyone's scrambling for the same supplies at the store. Many stores got looted, understandably. So how can the businesses' roofs come off, but the goods are still good? But then the people in the houses, their roofs came off, but their goods are no good. It's about how you package and store them and how you prepare. And how they package and store them in the businesses is for the long haul so that they don't lose their investment. But the people are not thinking along those lines. They only live and shop for the week, the day. They don't really shop like they used to, like my grandmother's days, for have things in storage. And that's where the generation gap is very noticeable. You have to have these things on hand, but you have to look like you don't have them on hand, because people will start to come to your house and think that and come and rob you. So you have to be very sneaky with how you do things, because in Jamaica they call it watchy watchy. The people, they watch you and they're seeing what you're doing, and that, oh, you're not out here lining up for aid like same thing we talked about in all the different scenarios that we've gone through. The same thing. You have to be moving in a particular way. You see here. One of my clients got a robocall telling them to be prepared for blackouts. She told her family and they still don't believe it and refuse to. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. And in our preparedness plan, even though I don't want to, we have to prepare for other people. You do. Because no matter what you say, they're coming to your door, and it's not going to be easy to say, oh, no, no, no. You're going to have to find a little bit to give to them, but never disclose or show your full supply under any circumstances. Because what I'm seeing, and the desperation, don't tell anybody. Maybe only the people them in your actual house, and even them, only maybe one person, because they talk too much and tell, oh, my mom has this and all, and blah blah blah, and she has this room. No, they talk too much. Don't tell them anything about that, and have your things spread out, never in only one spot, because someone that you don't expect is going to come and think, oh, I'm going to loot their house, I'm going to go take their stuff. So be very careful. If you have animals, you have to plan for them in your preparedness plan. In a natural disaster, if I had a water in my property, which it had happened before, the chickens are in the lowest part, so they're going to get the water. So I need to have a place where they can go and roost in their coop and be higher up, but I need a backup plan for them so they can at least have a fighting chance. Otherwise, I'm going to have to start from ground zero, and not even ground zero. I don't want to. You care about your animals. I care about my animals. I don't think anybody who takes care of animals wants them to suffer. So you want to do the best that you can and have them have a fighting chance. So make sure you plan for that. They have a fighting chance, and they have a place that they can go to be safe. And if they survive, they know where to come back to. But don't just plan for yourself. If you are a homesteader and have actual livestock, you need to plan for their safe escape from fires, floods, hurricanes, tornadoes. It's not something to play around with. Give them a fighting chance. If they're tagged, they're fine. You'll find them back again. They'll come back. They know where home is. They always know where home is. Trust and believe. Um, yep, you've been telling them. I'm telling you, most of us in my house, household, we grow food except for one, but it's okay. Sometimes those people got to focus on something else. They got skills in something else that are going to add value. So if everyone's not growing food, that's fine. But most of us have to have the ability and the skills and the understanding to grow food because it's going to be essential. And I'm going to wrap it up, but basically, look into sprouts, especially those of us who are in the colder zones who do hydroponics already. I was doing sprouts in the trays and it was fine, but I think it's easier in the mason jars. It's just, you can buy the lids. You can use regular mason jar rings, and then you can buy those mesh screens, and you can make any jar a sprouting jar. You can use the regular size. You can use the wide mouth jars. I'm now using more of the wide mouth jars because they're good for storing dry goods as well. I've purchased these larger jars from my local store, Canadian Tire. They're not quarts, they're larger than a quart jar. Sometimes you need to buy glass jars and store your nuts, your seeds, your oats, your cornmeal, your flour in these jars. Yeah, it's annoying. Yeah, they're heavier, but at least you're not worrying about ants, rodents, cockroaches, or anything of that nature because you'd rather do it right the first time. And you can also do dry canning. People put those things in the oven, they dry can it, they seal it so that any bugs or weevils are not in those items. That's how you have to store your foods in some cases, and it's easier. It's in your pantry. You can get it, and it's sanitized. It's not going to have bugs. I don't have to worry about mice. You may think you don't have mice, but they seem to find a place in your house somewhere to keep warm. So just be mindful. You don't want the food to not be usable because you didn't store it properly. Buy the jars, buy the buckets for the bulk stuff, and store your stuff. Bay leaves. Make sure you have your bay leaf and make sure you have cloves. And those things are also good cloves for making mouthwash, making your tea, helping with any other internal issues when you're going through a hard time, sick, stomach issues, flushing out parasites. Have cloves and have your bay leaves. Simple things that you can do. You're probably doing it anyways. Just restock so that you have them on hand and have your water. Have your water filtration, but have actual water. If you have to put them, cases under your bed, put cases under your bed, under your sofa, and cover it with whatever cover. That's what it's coming to. Any empty space in your house that is just dead, unusable, empty space under your beds should have stuff stored. We cannot play around because when everyone's in a frenzy, those things are hard to get. That's what, good morning, D Macro. That's what we have to remember. Yes, you're in a first world country. You can get them anywhere, anytime. But unless you have the means to transport yourself to other areas that are not going through that and to get the stuff and to bring it back, it's just adding more work and frustration. And it's also making you visible to other people of what you're doing. So when it's right now, it's cool. Double up on all your water filtration, and your water purification and your cleansing. I was watching a video, it's on my Instagram. I shared it out for people to purify water during hurricanes. Boiling water. I've been boiling water, but I just never took time to say, she said, once it's actually at a boiling point, a roaring boil, then you time 10 minutes. You don't time the 10 minutes from when you turn on the stove. Once it's actually starting to boil, then you do the 10 minutes. And then you put the water to cool, and that's clean. And also regular schmegular bleach. We all have bleach. Just make sure you have enough bleach and you have your bleach tablets so that you can put them in the 5-gallon drums and your 1-gallon bottles, and have that, and have bottles and jugs. That's what I'm seeing I've seen it before, but again, reminder, you can't carry water or catch water if you don't have jugs to put the water in. And you don't want to be using glass jars for that. You want something that's light and easy to carry with the handle. And you go and keep some of your 1-gallon jugs. I usually keep 4 on hand for my winter months because I have to take water from in the house to water my chickens. I have to turn the hose off. It should be off now already. So I got to have 3 or 4 jugs to fill up and then carry them out and to keep refilling their water jug so that they can have water. So I need to have 1-gallon jugs to carry in and out to make my life easier because you don't want to be handling water outside. It's when it's cold. Miss Vanessa, speaking of cloves, I have been limping and in pain for a couple of months. Bursts, bursitis and don't tell me about I know about plantar fasciitis. I know about plantar fasciitis. I started drinking clove tea every day, and I'm finally feeling. I have that reminds me too, Miss Renaissance. I should be doing that for my thumb. My thumb, this one is fine. My this one is fine. I can go back and forward. This one I can go down, but I can't go. I can move the thumb there, but I can't curve it back. It's literally locked. So they said to me, said last week, plastic surgeon, they can inject something. Oh, no, 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 no. But clove is a powerful, powerful. I've been boiling clove, making clove tea, making it cool, and I use that for my mouthwash. I put some peppermint. You can put peppermint leaves in there too, or peppermint oil, and that's your mouthwash. It's better for your mouth than anything that you could buy at the store, because anything that has alcohol or anything else in it kills the good bacteria in your mouth. Then you're always fighting bad breath. You're wondering, why am bad breath? Because the good bacteria that you should be having in your mouth is dead too, is gone. And that also has been proven, mouthwash has been proven to cause high blood pressure. If you don't believe me, look it up. It'll pull up the articles for you. And you're wondering, why am my pressure so high? Mouthwash. Start using a natural mouthwash that kills the bad but leaves the good. And it will also start to see less dental problems like cavities. I've been going to the dentist every time. Oh, cavity, cavity, cavity. She called me 3 times already. You get to get a filling. I'm not getting the filling. Just because a cavity has formed, this is scripture now, guys, scripture. Formed doesn't mean it's going to prosper. Which verse is that, Psalms? Which verse is that, Psalms? Just because it's formed doesn't mean it's going to prosper. So yes, the clove tea. Back to the clove tea. So mouthwash, clove tea as actual tea to drink, and clove tea is also good to give to your chickens. I know for sure. So sometimes I put apple cider vinegar. That's right. No weapon formed against me, but no cavity that forms in my mouth is going to prosper. And you put the clove water in their water. It also helps with parasites. It's gentle and helps them with other things. I think it also helps with another mineral that they need to absorb. But these are also affordable ways to take care of your animals and prevent disease. So if you don't have clove, I usually have clove, get some more clove. That is a very good, I'm recommending that for mouthwash. I think you're going to start to find that and also toothpaste, guys. I don't use toothpaste. I use natural toothpaste with no fluoride. I've switched it up, and I'm telling you, your teeth don't have so much grime on it. The morning breath isn't so morning breathy. It's because the bacteria, you're having a balance. That's where we are messing up. And if your microbiome in your mouth isn't balanced, it's going to affect the rest of your body. And anything that's in your mouth, like bacteria or anything, is going to go right directly in your gums to your bloodstream and poison your blood. So you need to, clothes are in my home. You know what, Miss Van, I saw a video of your toothpaste. I'm sure I saw it. Was there a clove one? Do you have a video on there already that I can go back and watch? Because I'm looking at all these natural toothpaste and they're quite expensive. And sometimes they're not so easy to get to. And I know I can make it with baking soda. And I know I watched Yaki Wake and he mentioned myrrh gum resin, which I think is good for your mouth. But I'm gonna find put it on your post again, your community tab, please. I'm gonna watch it again. I'm really, really, really advocating for the mouthwash and the toothpaste, guys, because a lot of the health issues that we're having are definitely connected to your oral health. And the oral health that we're using is killing the bacteria in our mouth that we actually need. So I'm going to close it off, guys, which I said I'm going to close off 10 minutes ago. No, give it a try, Analytic Gardener. Give it a try. Because when you stop doing mouthwash with like the name brand stuff, it's very strong and it burns, and we think, oh, that's great. That means it's tingly, fresh, and cleaning. No. And for mouthwash, you can also always add hydrogen peroxide. So add hydrogen peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide is good. Clove is good. And coconut oil pulling. Coconut oil pulling is very good. Coconut oil is another powerful product that we can be using that's very affordable. It's very good. Coconut oil pulling. I need some more water. Cloves, peppermint, charcoal, coconut. Okay, perfect. That's what I'm going to start doing, because to go and buy it, it's not overly expensive, but you really want to make a good size batch. And buying the ingredients, depending on where you buy them, it's not bad, but keep it simple. Baking soda, coconut oil, for sure, charcoal, all of these things, and make a natural mouthwash to go with it. I can probably guarantee you're going to see some benefits in other aspects of your body. Hypertension is the main one, because your body, look it up. That's all I can tell you. I'll find the article and I'll maybe post it on my thing, but look it up and see from there. But sprouting, guys, sprouts, having that stored in buckets and Ziploc bags, having your food and updating your buckets. Check your buckets now that it's fall. Check all your buckets, make sure that they're good to go. If you need to add some bay leaves, some clove, whatever else, take care of that. I buy my baking soda by the 25 or 50-pound bags now, because I have animals, and I use it for laundry, for cleaning, for washing my vegetables. I use it for numerous things. Yeah, it's expensive, not really upfront because you're buying it in bulk, but it's cheaper in the long run. That's the secret. Buy things in bulk and have suppliers that you can buy these things readily. If you don't have animals, doesn't matter. Go to the animal feed store. They have those things in bulk. Okay. Have a great day. Take care. We'll talk next week, God willing. And keep a lookout for Instagram and YouTube as I post different things to help with your preparedness. All right. Take care.